What's up, boxing land? What's up, boxing freaks? It's been a while since I did a video. There's been a lot of boxing going on. Very entertaining. I think the year is closing out with a bang. So I'm gonna jump right to it. I'm gonna do this video as a general, observation of the last few fights, and then I'm gonna make a couple more, getting more into specifics on the various things I'm gonna talk about now. But first thing on the list I want to talk about is Adrian Broner. He fought Demarco, moved up to 135 pounds, had a really solid performance. Um, you know, I've been critical of him outside the ring, but inside the ring, I've always given him a lot of props. He does a lot of things right. Um, and he's a little clown outside the ring, but like I said before, some people are a little sensitive to this comment, but if you're an African American fighter, you have to play the role of the villain if you want to make big bucks. So, I think part of it is his personality. He thinks he's funny and he's a little obnoxious. And then I think another part of it is him playing up to the camera, to get that attention, to get people to hate him the same way that they've hated Floyd and it's worked for him. So I kind of understand it. But in terms of his ring performance, it was spectacular. Nobody can deny he was just simply amazing. Um, his defense is tight. His movement was great, and he lured Demarco into fighting his fight inside. And he had the quicker hands. He's got the maybe the same with a shorter reach. He was shorter, so the inside game played out to his advantage. And did a great job. He got hit with a couple of shots, nothing too big, but that happens when you go toe to toe. But the thing that I looked at when I watched the fight again was the positioning of his feet. Very similar to what Floyd did with Zab Judah after the third round, where Floyd gained control of his lead foot being on the outside of Zab. It's one of the things that Broner did in that fight, and he took control over DeMarco by blocking him in, not allowing him to get out. And the other thing that Broner did spectacular in that fight was he would rip the body and then go upstairs and he'd rip the body and he'd take a step to the side and he'd change and create a new angle. You couldn't do it any better than that. So again, the kid is solid. I believe he said something along the lines after the fight that they're gonna take their time. They're gonna stay at 135 and I guess take a bunch of fights. Um, as a fan, that disappoints me. But then, as a business person, I don't knock him. I think it's smart. I think he should make as much money as he can because I'm not the one in there taking punches. I mean, if you check out my YouTube channel, I have a video of me sparring in there, so I know how difficult it is to some point. Not to the extent of a pro fighter because they train much harder and they get hit a lot more and harder. But I can't knock him for wanting to make more money, milk the 135 division. Eventually, he'll come to 40, and I think at 140 pounds is what's going to really define him as perhaps a great fighter. He has tons of skills. You can't take anything away from him, and he makes very few mistakes. If you hit him, you're gonna have to earn the shot. He's not gonna give it to you. So props to Bruno. The kid has a ton of skills, and it'd be interesting to see what's next for him. Moving along, Berto Guerrero turned out to be a much more exciting fight than I had anticipated. I had predicted Berto to win. I thought that he would be able to overpower Guerrero with his size. Last time when we saw Guerrero, he didn't look that sharp, but then again, he'd come off from surgery in the shoulder, and he came off of a long layoff. But surprisingly, he was really strong. He bullied Andre Berto, and he did what was smart. He took a lot of shots on the inside, but he got inside on Berto and he bullied and beat him up. And excuse me, Guerrero said himself that he wasn't going to fight at the outside of Andre Berto's power and speed, and that was smart. He would have got picked apart had he tried to fight Berto from the outside. Um, what he did was he took a page out of the blueprint that Luis Collazo from Brooklyn showed everybody when he fought Andre Berto a few years ago, and I thought he won the fight. He went inside. By the way, I saw Louis Collazo. I believe he will be fighting in February at the Barclays Center on somebody's undercard. Don't know yet, but I'll keep you posted on that. And Collazo told me that he believes that Berto's finished as a fighter. Whether he is or not, we'll have to see. But congratulations to Robert Guerrero, and congratulations to Andre Berto for an exciting fight. I mean, his eye was busted up, I think, from the second round on, and he fought his heart out throughout the rest of the fight. Tried to win. He hit Guerrero with some bombs, but something about that Mexican chin, it just doesn't give up. It doesn't go out either. So props to both fighters. We'll see what's in store for Guerrero. I predict a Mayweather fight in May, but we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen there. My third point I want to speak about is this weekend's fight between Juan Manuel Marquez and Manny Pacquiao in what many call fight of the year, fifth round of the year, and sixth round knockout of the year. Perhaps it's going to go down as one of the top five knockouts of all times. Very exciting fight. Manny did what he always does, move side to side, threw the jab out there to measure Marquez, throw the straight left hand, throw some right hooks, come in and out, throw feints in there. He did what he always did. I didn't see anything different. Um, Marquez changed it up a little bit in this fight. He stood more in straight lines with Manny as opposed to circling Manny Pacquiao as we've seen in the past. You know, um, Marquez gave the blueprint to Mosley. Nassim Richardson had that blueprint. Just Mosley couldn't pull the trigger to keep Manny turning. If you keep Manny turning, you can outbox him and counter him. But this time, Marquez fought him in straight lines. And what Marquez was looking for was he was looking for counter shot opportunities. So by fighting Manny in a straight line, he'd have Manny become more aggressive, and Manny would open himself up to counter shots. And we saw that in the third round when Marquez hit Manny with an overhand right and dropped him and hurt him. But after that, I believe in the fourth round or fifth round, Manny came back and he had a little flash knockdown of Marquez and he started touching him up. But he played right into Marquez's plan. And it's interesting how, I believe in the fourth round or the fifth, Roy Jones said that in the fighter meeting, he asked Marquez what would be the difference between the two. And Marquez had told Roy Jones that he's a smarter fighter than Manny. And we saw that in the sixth round when, again, Marquez was fighting Manny in straight lines. He came at him. He backed up. As Manny was coming in, Marquez stepped forward and caught him with a counter right-hand shot that knocked him out cold. And that wasn't a lucky punch. If you go on YouTube, I'll provide a link later on where you can see that Marquez dropped the sparring partner the same exact way. So that's something that they had been preparing for. So congratulations to Marquez. Hopefully fans in the boxing community will now give him the props that he deserves. I've been saying for the longest, this guy's an all-time great. He's one of the best uppercut thrower, best counter punchers of all times. And with me, I now place him as the number two greatest Mexican fighter of all times, behind Cesar Chavez. I think technically he's better than Chavez. I can't put him above him just because Chavez fought so many all-time greats and had so many fights. But I put him at number two. So congratulations to Marquez. I don't want to see a fifth fight. I think it's pointless. If Manny had knocked Marquez out, nobody would be speaking of a fifth fight. And the way that Manny got knocked out is a way that a fighter can never recover. I mean, you just look at Hatton. When Manny knocked him out the way he did, he was done. So I think Manny as an elite fighter is done. I still think he has some fights in him. I just don't think that he's going to be able to beat the elite fighters anymore. Or I don't think he's going to be able to take big shots anymore. I think that aura of invincibility has been shattered by Marquez. And if they were to fight again a fifth time, I'll tell you what, I think Marquez knocks him out again, or Marquez box circles around him. Manny's going to be hesitant now, Being knocked out like that is going to take something away from him coming in and being so aggressive. So it changes his style, changes his dynamics completely. But then again, it's a great fight. Congratulations to both. But damn, I've never seen somebody Photoshop so much and made fun of so much like the internet has been going on Manny. But then again, he had a lot of overzealous Filipino fans that were fanatical and just obnoxious. So I guess that comes with the territory. And the last thing I want to speak about is 50 Cent involvement in boxing, as many of you know. TMT didn't take off. 50 said that Floyd didn't put up half the money, which he promised to put up. But interesting is 50 said that, Al Haymon, a Harvard graduate, a guy that intelligent, um, doesn't have Mayweather set up with investment accounts. 50 said that outside of boxing, Floyd doesn't have any other sources of revenue, doesn't have any other sources of income. And I find that so hard to believe. As a Mayweather fan, I don't want to believe that it's true, but then I can see that perhaps it is true. He recently said that Floyd fights, makes his money, then spends his money, then fights again, makes more money, and then spends more money. And I hope he doesn't then end up like Tyson or Joe Louis or Sugar Ray Robinson, broke at the end of his career, because he won't be able to fight anymore. You know. Um, but it shocks me with a guy like Al Haymon that it could be possible that Floyd doesn't have investment accounts with, say, Goldman Sachs or Merrill Lynch or any of the investment bankers, or own, huge commercial real estate or other investments like that. I find that really hard to believe. I hope it's not true. And then 50 also said that, Mayweather Promotions is not even an entity. It's just basically a name. There's no seal of incorporation. There's no paperwork to document it as a company. So, something's fishy there. Some people criticize 50 for wanting to get Al out of the picture, but if 50 could do what Al does, and 50 and Floyd were going to go into business, why would Floyd need Al? If Al wasn't bringing money to the table that 50 could have brought in, what was Al's purpose? Then again, Floyd's loyal to his team, so I can understand why he's keeping that. But I think the fallout that happened between the two had to do with Al Haymon. I don't think Floyd was going to get rid of Al, so I think Al may have advised Floyd to get rid of 50, and that's what happened. So it'll be interesting to see what happened to both, and interesting to see what will happen to 50 Cent. Who will work with him, being that he's made enemies with Al Haymon and Golden Boy Promotions. And as we know, Golden Boy Promotions has huge influence and power over HBO and Showtime. Showtime especially, since one of their executives is now head of Showtime Sports. And Al Haymon, as we all know, has tremendous influence and power over both. So it's going to be interesting to see where 50 goes from here. That's it, folks. Leave me some comments. Follow me on Facebook at Boxing Freaks, or follow me on Twitter at YDKSAB. And stay tuned for my next videos. Thanks.